Hi everybody. Today we have a blue and black reanimator deck inspired by a deck from the small Japanese tournament scene. This is probably one of the trickier reanimator decks to play just because it has so many different lines of play, so many different options, and truly so much text on a lot of these cards that keeping track of everything that you can do between your hand and your graveyard and then what's left in your deck can get a little overwhelming sometimes. That said, it's really satisfying to play, so let me run through it really quick here. We have a number of draw and discard effects that we want to play early in the game. So you can see here, all of our 2-drops have that ability between Rona and the rest of these creatures, and then in our 3-drop slot, each of these planeswalkers can also discard things for us. This is a key part of the plan as we're looking to reanimate giant things with Reenact the Crime, a 4-mana instant that requires a lot of blue mana that lets us play for free something that was put into the graveyard from anywhere this turn. So normally for us that's going to be discarding, but don't forget that this can also be used on things the opponent discards, things that just leave play from combat, for example, and that kind of thing. Then we have 2 copies of Terror Tide to wipe the board. Only 2 here because one of our other reanimator specialists is here. We've got Cruelty of Gix, 3 copies here. Now let's get to the good stuff. We've got all of our reanimation targets. So we've got Conspiracy Unraveler, who is really key to this deck. We can collect Evidence 10 rather than pay the mana cost for spells that we cast. Anytime you have a free spell effect in Standard, it's worth a second look because it just allows you to accelerate out past what your opponents are doing and hopefully overwhelm them to the point where you can just shut them out of the game. This works well with all of our early plays that have been putting things into the graveyard, hopefully expensive things. We also have Breach the Multiverse to fill up our graveyard, do some more reanimation, along with Virtue of Persistence, which is a nice early game removal spell, expensive late game spell, and another thing we can bring back creatures with later on. And of course, Atraxa is the standby reanimation target. This is probably the best target we have in Standard, although I could make an argument for including like 1 Toxrill in here to take care of these token decks. So as you can see, there's a ton of interaction between all of these cards, and I had a really fun time playing this deck. Only improvement I could see making in the future was adjusting the amount of tap lands, because nothing is more frustrating than getting your 4th land off the top, being ready to discard and reenact the crime, and you've got to play a Restless Reef. Also a quick heads up, because I'm a stubborn player, I've got 2 pretty long games toward the end of this video, so just kind of buckle up if you're into that, but it's worth sticking around for because I don't like giving up. Now let's go see some games with this deck over on the ranked standard ladder. Alright, let's get started here. We've got Reenact the Crime, we've got Rona. Yeah, let's give it a try. Gonna be honest, I don't quite know what I'm doing with this deck, so hopefully we'll figure that out together. Our opponent's avatar is dropping a stick of dynamite on the ground, and we're off to the races. A 2nd copy of Rona. I do love that all of our looter enablers, those things that give us the draw and the discard, they have a little something extra to go with it. So Rona we can obviously flip over in the late game, get a nice big creature out of it. Let's play land number 2, get Rona going. Opponent's on red and black, Bloodfeather Phoenix. Comes over with the attack for 2. Come on, land. Okay, it's a land. It's going to be untapped. Let's see. We can play a looter, or we can play Lily and go for the sacrifice. Yeah, let's do that. Suppose we could have tapped Rona there, but again, don't quite know what I'm doing. Let's make them sacrifice. I see. Opponent's got to play with fire for Lily. Alright, so the more I think about this, this is going to be a tricky one. So, reenact the crime. We want to discard the thing, but then we have to reenact on the turn that we discard the thing. Rona gets go for the throated anyway. Alright, so we kind of got to rebuild. Ouch, no 4th land. Would have been great to play 2 looters here. I mean, let's just play Lily. We can kind of trust that we're going to draw it. Let's discard something. We'll get rid of one of these looters. So all we need is the 4th untapped land off the top, and then next turn we can... Ugh. Come on, deck. Alright, I didn't look at the land count in this. There might be a lower land count deck that trusts in the looters to get you there. All right, let's get Rona down. Just hold back for a second. Be great if... Oh, there it is. Okay. We got the 4th land. So, Shipwreck Marsh. Okay, let's go. Each player discards. And Reenact doesn't have to be right away. It just matters that the card left or went to the graveyard this turn. Let's go Breach. And we're going to play Breach for free. Yes, exile target non-land card. There it is. Ooh, Rankle and Torbran. All right, Reenacting the Crime on Breach the Multiverse. That feels pretty good. Cards are milled. What are our choices? We got a Mishra over there. Deep Cavern Bat. Ooh, Bloodletter. Rankle and Torbran could be nice. Oh, we got Conspiracy Unraveler. That is the key. Does Rankle give haste? It has haste, but it does not give haste. Let's take the Bloodletter. We can attack in just one swoop if these things survive, and might be able to knock that opponent out of the game. Of course, now we can play stuff for free. Let's see what we got down here. Oh yeah, we got a Breach down there. We can totally afford this. Let's go Atraxa. We will get rid of... What do we got to do? 10 or greater? Let's go Breach. I mean, might as well go Reenact. We can't bring that back with this deck. Rona gets activated again, but we don't really need to be looting right now. We're just going to try to refill the hand with Atraxa. Let's take Rona. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a lot to deal with. Good game. All right. Another 2-lander. Let's try... Ugh. Come on, deck. A 2-lander with a looter. Let's give it a try. Let's put back Terror Tide. We've got a push and pull to kind of mitigate the early game if we need something. It looks like we're up against dinosaurs. We draw the Unraveler off the top, so let's play our 2nd land. Get this looter going. Now we just need the lands, and we can start reenacting some crimes. Yep, opponent plays Cavern on Dinosaur. Another Lore Keeper. Surprised we didn't see the 6/6 stun dinosaur there. So we're drawing pretty much all of the expensive stuff. I think it makes sense. We're going to loot now, try to get that land. Okay, good. We got one. I want to keep push-pull for now. Let's get rid of Atraxa, because I suppose we could breach it back if that's what we're going to reenact. And we'll play out our 2nd Restless Reef. And we got push-pull over here to deal with any dinosaurs. There, that's the one. Pugnacious Hammerskull. I couldn't quite think of the name. We get hit by the Lore Keeper down to 19. Ugh. Tap land off the top. Ready to do some crimes here, and... Alright, let's get in for one. I don't need to loot yet, and I don't want the opponent to really think of this as a threat that they need to remove to attack with the Hammerskull. Ooh. Bone Horde Dracosaur, huh? That is a good one. Okay. Our options here, we can afford Reenact the Crime and push-pull. I think it's time to reenact some crime. Let's go Likeness Looter. Yeah, this worked out well last time. Let's go Breach the Multiverse. And then we will just go ahead and reenact the crime. So we get to cast this for free. And cast away. Mill a number of things. Well, we've got Atraxa down there from earlier. I think that'll be the choice from our graveyard. And we'll take our opponent's Dracosaur. That's a good one. And then Atraxa is going to give us some more juice moving forward. Let's take Reenact. Take Rona. Take this Otawara and Liliana. And we'll play this. Oh, okay. Yeah. Good game. All right, trying another one. Rarely have I played a deck with so many creatures that never actually gets to attack. So we've got Conspiracy Unraveler and Likeness Looter in hand. Let's start off with a Marsh. We can play this Shores next turn. This deck really doesn't have any turn 1 plays. Cruelty off the top. Yeah, let's go with the Looter. It is nice that you draw and then discard, so if there's some scenario where I suppose we draw Reenact the Crime, we can discard the Unraveler and then immediately reenact it. All these tap lands. Yeah, let's get them down now. Pass the turn. Opponent on Azorius. Wedding announcement. Plus these veterans kind of tells me they want to go wide, but it's not the most aggressive start. Yeah, I guess this is okay. Alright, let's loot at the end of their turn. Yeah, don't really need a second looter. Alright, second Cruelty off the top. Now, let's wait on the looter. So, Reenact is an instant. So we might as well wait until our opponent can do the least about it at the end of their turn. And if we don't find Reenact, we can possibly Cruelty of Gix to reanimate one of these Unravelers. Alright, opponent definitely going wide now, gaining some life with the veteran. Let's use the looter. There's Atraxa. Alright, let's pitch the Unraveler. Like, free stuff. Free stuff is too good. Even if we can't quite afford it just yet. Alright. So, Cruelty, we've got some options with this. We're at 21. Yeah, let's go slow with it. Let's take a look at that hand. Oh, this is more soldiers than I thought. Okay, so we got some Harbins. Let's take one of those. Opponent's got a Bunnycorn. So the Cruelty is going to allow us to tutor next turn and go searching our deck for a card we want. And I think I know just the choice. Alright, wedding announcement. Flips over. Opponent's got a bunch of 2/2s. We're going to loot. Alright, let's pitch Rona. Chapter 2. Alright. What do we got here? Bunch of expensive things. There they are. Couple of Terror Tides. Let's take one of those. Alright, well, unfortunately, mana-wise, really only going to be able to do one thing. So let's loot while we can. We'll put Atraxa in the yard. Store that away for later. Bump up the Terror Tide a little bit. And let's wipe that board. And then we're automatically set up to be able to reanimate something on our next turn. Assuming our opponent doesn't remove this. Opponent goes with Phantom. Alright, maybe Bunnycorn as they start building back up again. Nope, second Phantom. Okay. We get Restless Reef off the top. I'm going to pass on the Soldier reanimation. I think what we want to do here... Yeah, let's go with an Atraxa. And let's see. Give me Rona. Another Cruelty. Let's take a Reenact. Take that Marsh. And let's take Lily, in case we want to make him discard. Alright. So Atraxa in play. Opponent with a couple of 2/2s. We've got about 7 mana. Let's go Kaito. We haven't attacked, so let's go plus. draw and discard. We'll discard Unraveler. We will reenact Unraveler. Suppose we could have just cast Unraveler, but then we wouldn't have a Kaito in play. And let's do a free Cruelty. We can get rid of, let's see, that'll be 9. Let's throw in one of these 2-drops. There we go. All right, free Cruelty. I mean, we could just keep recycling Cruelties here. That's pretty good. Or not recycling. Multiple Cruelties in a row. Let's make them discard that Bunnycorn. Opponent left with a couple of flyers. So as our opponent rebuilds, they've got a couple of turns worth of chump blocking. Oh, a little bit more. They're going to bounce one of the Phantoms with this Zephyr Sentinel. Replay it as a veteran. Alright, could be trusting in their creatures entering the battlefield triggers to save them. Well, let's go taking a look once again. Alright, what does our opponent have? Some 2 toughness things. I mean, just like a low-to-the-ground Terror Tide? Yeah, we'll pay some old-fashioned mana for it. That's fine. I mean, just clean that board up. Opponent's at 38. We'll attack for 7. Gain 4. Play out this land. We're going to pay full price for a Liliana. So we'll make him likely discard. Let's make a ninja as well. I mean, yeah. Happy to discard one of these looter effects. Get rid of a soldier or a bunnycorn. And just pick the hand apart. Ah, free spells. All these zeros are so attractive. We're going to play another Cruelty here. Let's get rid of the Terror Tides and the Looter. The Tides are not getting recast this game. Let's make them discard that final creature, leaving our opponent with just Lunarch Veteran in the grave. Opponent names Soldier with Secluded Courtyard, and Luminous Phantoms back on chump blocking duty. Alright, what creature do we want? Let's take another Unraveler. Let's search our library for a card. We could Breach. We do have the mana for it, but I think we just need to start attacking. Let's make our opponent sack a creature here.
Sacrifices must be made.
Go attacking. Casual attack for 14. And then we've got a bunch of mana left over. Let's play Virtue of Persistence. We will draw a card with Kaito. Pass it on back.
I'll be taking that now.
Okay, Virtue. Who do we want now? I guess we could take a Rona. There's a world where we could flip her over. Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah. Opponent facing down a good army there. Good game. Alright. What do we got here? Some looters. I think that's good. Got some Liliana to manage the early game for us. Start off with a marsh. We can go shores next turn. Just reading looter here, so you do need a lot of mana to be able to copy something out of the graveyard. We got a Vohar. I don't know, I'm kind of on the Rona train lately. I think Rona's probably my favorite looter of all of these options. The prospect of transforming her later in the game sounds like a lot of fun. Alright, 3 mana. I think it makes sense to Lily here. And we're going to use Rona. Actually, kind of forgot about that little ability. Let's see. Discard that.
Those who get in my way tend to regret it.
Yep, let's make everybody discard. Just more discard.
Won't be outsmarting me.
And I think we're just going to pass. So we could do a little looting on our opponent's turn, but I don't know, I might just save it. Huh, well, never mind. Let's use it. It's got a Virtue coming at Rona. It looked like they were looking at her. Alright, still not a lot of business from our deck. We kind of got all of the enablers, but none of the haymakers. Let's get Kaito down. Let's make a little ninja. And let's make our opponent sacrifice the might. So they're going to gain a little bit of life. But that also keeps them from pressuring our planeswalkers and forcing me to decide whether or not we want to block. Opponent plays out the Dread Knight we've seen before. There's one of our fun things. Here's Atraxa. Okay. So, we're going to attack here. And I think this makes sense. We're going to do just a regular draw. All right, it was a land anyway.
What do we have here?
So let's play out Reef tapped. Let's make him sack the Dread Knight. The trample could come over anyway and get rid of Lily. I know they get it back, but we're just trying to slow them down a little bit. And hopefully they don't have land number 4 for this Reckless Cottage. Or Restless Cottage. I guess it is a little reckless. It's a cottage. Okay, opponent draws with the Dread Knight. Choking Miasma. That's a great choice. When that card works, it works really well, where you get to keep your creature behind and wipe the opponent's board. Let's put Atraxa in the grave. We've got Cruelty of Gix here. We're going to skip to the end. Skip to the good part. No, we'll skip reanimating the might. We're going to go straight for Atraxa. Let's refill this hand. Unraveler is great. Virtue is good. Take Otawara for the flexibility. Let's take, yeah, I think Breach over Push-Pull maybe. Mills 10 cards. Yeah, that'll give some fuel to the Conspiracy Unraveler. Since we haven't been discarding a whole lot of big things, our biggest thing is back on the board. Interesting. Opponent naming Phyrexian with Cavern of Souls. And has Go for the Throat for Atraxa. Alright. At least it's not exiled. And Mosswood Dread Knight coming back down. Been noticing a lot more opponents playing Cavern of Souls, even when it's not like a huge deal for their deck. I guess when it comes in handy in best of one, it's really nice, but probably also doesn't really cost your deck much to throw that in there.
Thanks. I'll be taking
Looting. I think we want to discard, well, Vohar. Let's go Vohar, because there's a chance that Looter could become an Atraxa or an Unraveler later on. Whereas Vohar is more focused on spells, I believe. Opponent's got a Cruelty here. That's not good at all. There's Atraxa going to our opponent. Gonna grab them a bunch of cards. Let's see. They got a Sheoldred. Is that a land? And another Cruelty, it looks like. Opponent using our own stuff against us does not feel great. But we were kind of setting them up for it anyway. Okay, Dread Knight finally getting to attack.
You almost stopped me that
That's okay. We could have blocked with a Reef there, but I got other plans. Let's go Conspiracy Unraveler. We're going to draw and discard.
There's no secret I can't uncover.
Okay, let's discard the Looter. Breach is just so good with Unraveler, it just like keeps fueling itself. So let's go Breach. We're going to exile Lily, Kaito, and Looter. And what do we need? A little more? Vohar. The stuff that's not really going to come back. Okay, we can grab Atraxa, another Unraveler, Lily. Opponent's got a Gix, a Trespasser, and a Liliana. I mean, yeah, Atraxa's pretty great. I don't know. Second Unraveler could be interesting if they remove our first one. All right, let's look at the opponent's graveyard. Trespasser might work. Well, Lily can at least thin the board a little bit. They've got a Dream Thief to kind of absorb it, but Atraxa is going to give us some cards too. All right, let's take Reenact the Crime, Underground River, Cruelty, and Rona. There's a lot going on in this deck. Okay, so to take stock, we've done a lot of milling. We've got a big Terror Tide we can cast to clear the board. We've got to Reenact the Crime. Can't use Reenact the Crime after we clear the board this turn because we won't have our Unraveler left. However, we could Cruelty it back later. We could set up Persistence. Yeah. So let's do that. We'll exile Breach. And Lily. That's exactly 10. Resolve that. Okay, so that's set up for the future. We know our opponent has some more reanimation in hand, so maybe we can get out ahead of him. Got to Reenact the Crime we can use. So we can take Gix or Trespasser from the opponent. Suppose we could take Duress and steal the Cruelty, or we could go for the throat the stolen Atraxa. If we go for the throat the Atraxa, they can just get it back with Cruelty, though. Alright. Let's... Wait, what happened? I totally missed something. Did I must have canceled something along the way. Well, I told you there's a lot to keep track of in this deck, and apparently it's beyond even my meager comprehension skills. Alright, well, we've got free Reenact the Crime on deck. That could come in handy. Oh, opponent's got Haywire Might. Takes care of our Virtue. Well, there goes that plan. See what they decide to do here. Attacking with the Dread Knight and Atraxa, both going at Liliana. Choose blockers. I guess we'll give you back the Dread Knight.
Fine. I'll take my zombies and
They will get to draw some more cards, but I mean, they've got plenty to worry about over there. If they want to spend their turn doing 4 mana, draw 1 card, I guess that's alright. Alright, we can Reenact the Crime now. So we can take Gix's Command, Haywire Might, Liliana. Opponent's got Atraxa and a Fairy on board, so the command could work. Alright, let's get rid of Tide and I guess this other Unraveler. Opponent doesn't seem to have the removal for ours. Cast Gix's Command. So we'll make him sack Atraxa for sure. And that'll take away the Fairy at least. Alright, not the most back-breaking of plays, but maybe we can clean this up a little bit. Let's loot with Kaito. Oh, we got a Breach there. We got a Breach going. Let's discard Underground River. Many options, and our opponent having a Cruelty of Gix of their own is kind of complicating things. Alright, tell you what. Let's do a free Breach. We're going to take out this Atraxa and a Reenact. We're going to spill a bunch of things into the graveyard. Alright, we've got 2 Atraxas in our yard and another Unraveler. Let's take Atraxa. Oh, Deep Cavern Bat got milled. So many choices. Trespassers down there. I think we'll take the Bat, actually. So this will let us look at our opponent's hand, and we can at least steal the Cruelty from out of there. So they won't be able to reanimate that extra Atraxa we have, or our Conspiracy Unraveler that's sitting down there. Let's grab some cards here with Atraxa. Oh, interesting. We've got a push and pull, which gives things haste. However, our opponent's at 32. I don't think there's a 2-card combination of things we can grab that would give us the win here. We might have to save that. Sneak it in a little bit. Let's go Liliana of the Veil. Make them discard one of those good cards they have left over. We'll pitch one of these looters. Okay, they decide to discard Gix. So that means we can Cruelty. We're going to cast it for free, so let's get rid of Cruelty, Looter, and Kaito. That's 10. We're going to start at Chapter 1. Who do we take? Kind of want to take Liliana here. And then we can do Rona. And pass. Okay. Not too worried about Shieldred. Like, we're still at 20. We can make them sacrifice it with Liliana unless they go, like, full creature mode. Alright, opponent finds a cut down for the Bat. Alright, I guess that's okay. We've got Otawara in hand, too. Cruelty. Alright, this is where it's going to get tricky. What is our opponent going to target with this Cruelty? And what mode are they going to pick? Okay, they're going to reanimate something. They choose Atraxa, of course. Sure. That gets resolved. Okay. Opponent pulls up Shieldred's Edict, another Virtue, Glissa. What do we have down here? Unraveler, some Looters, another Rona. Opponent's going to Virtue on Rona. Okay, nothing too different down in our opponent's graveyard here. Worth noting, only 15 cards left in their library. Alright, we could reenact because something did go to the grave, but I don't think that's worthwhile yet. Huh. Well, speaking of cards left in library, we only had 5, and we have to take one. Let's make our opponent sacrifice Atraxa.
One of your friends has to leave.
Yeah, they didn't get too much off of that Atraxa draw. Kind of want to turn the pressure up on our opponent. Let's play out this land. Yeah, I think... Okay. Let's go attacking. So we can attack here for 13. We can cast Looter. We'll just pay full price for that. So that and the Ninja Token can be good sacrifice fodder for the Edict. Not to mention our opponent is down to 15. They go with Virtue, and that's not going to protect against these flyers. Interesting. Okay, they go Edict on a Planeswalker. That's an interesting choice. We just count this up here. 13 from the big ones, plus 2. And opponent is tapped out. If they had chosen Creature, they would have bought another turn. But I think as it stands, we are in good shape. We'll just take Haywire Might for fun. course, no green mana, so I can't get rid of that Virtue of Persistence, but that is exactly 15. And we got there. That was a long one. Good game. All right. We're going to try keeping this. So we've got like 2 of the 3 things we need. We've got a looter in hand, so we can start using that to draw into extra lands. If we draw any of our early reanimation, or our late reanimation targets, I should say. Oh, okay. Finally reading the second ability on Vohar. Sure, the commenters are going to come for me for that. There's probably an argument that I could have breached the multiverse at some point in another game. Oh, wait, you live and learn. All right, let's loot. Get Cruelty. Let's take Push and Pull, put that in the grave. Not the most useful spell at the moment. And as we've just discovered, several games into this deck, Vohar can help me recycle that later on. Okay, opponent with a treasure map. Classic saffron olive staple. Let's loot with Vohar. Another looter. Come on, we need some lands here. Loot again. There's one. Alright, well. Yeah, let's get rid of this second likeness looter. Don't really want to tip our hand that we are reenacting the crime, although we're playing way more looters than anyone should probably do in Standard. It's probably pretty obvious what we're trying to do. Opponent taking a look with the treasure map, puts it on the bottom. Taking a look again, the old doing that before the draw phase trick. Looks with meticulous archive, but I suppose keeps it on the top. Perhaps has something for my draw step? No, they do not. Okay. Just left a stop on there. Let's play land number 4. I'm going to pass here. So we're in a situation where opponent could easily counter our next thing, and that's what a lot of these decks tend to do in the first like 3 to 4 turns of the game. They know we're in blue, so they could also be playing a game of chicken with us. And we're just going to play some draw go until somebody tries to make an offensive move, and then we kind of fight over it. So opponent could be thinking I have counterspells. They decide to kind of make the first move with Teferi, though. Kind of surprising, but they do have 3 treasures left over to protect him with a counterspell, that kind of thing. Opponent reading our creature. Or just targeting it with Teferi. So they're going to untap Treasure Cove. That means we get 1 draw with Vohar. We have 3 Reenact the Crime, though. So let's draw and just see what we get. Just take a look. Virtue. Yeah, let's try this and see if they want to fight about it. We're going to reenact the crime on the Virtue we just discarded. Opponent's got 4 mana up. I fully expect this will be countered. Draws with a Treasure Cove. Okay, casting Virtue of Persistence. That lands. Alright. So that wasn't that spectacular, but it's still a useful thing to have in our back pocket. Alright, we got Vohar. We got 1 active likeness looter. Let's do Vohar, we get a land. Let's discard Terror Tide, because I don't think that's too useful in this match. If we go Lily, we can make our opponent discard. Let's take another look with this looter first. Another Vohar. We'll put that in the grave. Darkslick Shores enters tapped. And finally, Liliana.
Those who get in my way tend to
I don't know. I don't really want to discard, though. I'll just keep her around as a threat. Oh, this is going to be one of those. Opponent's got a farewell here. So exiles graveyard. Pretty much everything. So actually Planeswalker from us, not a bad choice. Okay. So forced into an early bit of rebuilding here. Let's start off with a Cruelty then. I think we're going to step all the way through this and get a discard going. They've got another Teferi, our only choice. Out of Air counters a spell or a creature spell for the cheap. Thousand Moon Smithy, Sunfall, and a Depopulate. Well, we can make him discard something. Because next turn we're going to be able to go looking for something else with Cruelty. Well, hopefully. Those decks are known for playing Get Lost and things that ruin my enchantment fun. Opponent taking a look off the top with Teferi. That is kind of a nice combo for our opponent with the Smithy and the Construct. Creating treasure tokens off the Cove. It all kind of feeds. Is a nice little combo that works well together. Alright, tutor time. 5 mana available, 2 map tokens. Take a Planeswalker, that would kind of be safe from Farewells of the Future. Could take Lily, continue to make our opponent discard. Let's see, Reenact. Yeah, I think it's just Lily. We can also make our opponent just sacrifice that Construct token, since we know. Oh, they just use Out of Air on Rona. Okay. Cool. Well, I hope we just unwittingly bluffed our opponent into countering Rona there. We did take kind of a long time tutoring. And maybe they were thinking that Rona was going to loot us back into this game. Huh. Could have gone either way, I guess. Alright, so still not much in our graveyard. Opponent doing standard blue and white control things with kind of an artifact finisher theme. Let's take a look at the Smithy. So they're going to be able to flip that over. What was the oops? How did you oops? Not sure how the opponent oopsed there. I don't think that was like a bad manners oops. I think that was a genuine confusion oops. Fateful Absence takes care of Liliana. Cruelty, able to reanimate Rona. That was worth countering. Tell you what, let's go Reef. And we'll fire that up. Go attacking it to Teferi. As for the mill, let's target ourselves for now. We are a ways off from being able to reenact the crime off of something that the Reef mills. I'll play the second one here. But I'll try to keep that in mind for the future. We could also be in a world where we are fighting this battle with creature lands, as our opponent comes over with a Restless Anchorage and makes a map token. So opponent's got 4 mana open, plus the Mightstone. We could attempt to flip Rona and go attacking. Let's map a little bit here too, because we could also activate a Reef. Another Rona on the top. Now we'll put that in the grave. Oh, it's tempting. So if we flip Rona, it's a 5/5, but then we're kind of out of mana. Let's take another look with a map before we make any decisions. Virtue. I don't know if Virtue is actually going to be that useful. So we don't have any of our reanimation targets. It's going to take up most of our turn to cast. I don't know. I just don't know. Alright, we're going to attack with just Rona. So opponent could have a Wanderer here. Don't want to lose the Reef. And at least Rona's a little bit bigger. A little bit more threatening. Alright, let's go for it. Let's reenact the Virtue. Okay. So either no counters from the opponent, or opponent didn't feel like fighting it. Yeah, so there's just not that many reanimation targets for us. So this could be good if we draw into some with Rona, but I don't really expect to see much from our opponent. That said, it's one more tool in the toolbox, and maybe we can mill something of our own with a Reef. Just felt like we had to do something there. Oh, okay. Opponent's got a Field of Ruin, but they're looking like they're going to charge up this anchorage and go attacking again. Creates a map token. And that'll knock us down to 12. Okay, Virtue happens. Okay, we do have some things down there. I don't know what I was thinking. Guess the Unraveler was buried under some other cards. I don't know how I missed that. At any rate. So now we've got access to some free spells, excuse me, but not a lot of cards in hand. Let's activate this Reef. But looks like they've got something to do. No. Let's go attacking. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. More clue tokens. We're going to hit our opponent for 3. And we'll end it there. So we've got a couple of clues to start refilling this hand, which is at least decent. We've got a flyer to start blocking the anchorage, and this might trigger our opponent to use their Sunfall. There it is. Okay, still have some reanimation targets in the grave, so not the end of the world. Yeah, we just kind of need to work through these exiling removal spells, these mass removal spells like Farewell. Opponent activates the anchorage again. Finally decides to use a map token on the anchorage. Doing some attacking, that's going to bring us down to 9 and basically replace that map token. Let's crack a clue here before our turn. And we will Virtue back Atraxa. Alright, so looking at the top of the deck, we'll take Cruelty and Conspiracy. Let's take... there it is. Let's take another Reef and a Kaito. And let's see what opponent's got. No mana up, just those are map tokens. Got a Cruelty, we can make him discard. Or at least get some more information. Alright, well this may be a game of Reefs. Let's go attacking. And for the mill, let's point it there. So they kept Teferi on top, and I don't really want them to have that. We've got a few things going here now, thanks to Atraxa filling up our hand. Oh, are they going to flip the Smithy? You may tap 5 untapped artifacts or creatures you control. Alright, so that transforms into a land. Whenever you cast an artifact or creature spell using that mana, they're going to make some constructs. That's pretty good. I kind of like this artifact sub-theme in this deck. Usually a lot of these blue and white control decks are, I hate to say it, a little boring for me, at least. But I kind of like this angle of adding the artifacts in. Let's grab Island here as our opponent Field of Ruins our Restless Reef. We still have one on deck we can attack with. Oh, that's a even better Teferi. Teferi Temporal Pilgrim draws our opponent a card. So they're out of mana to activate the anchorage. One of their answers could be an absence or a get lost here. Otherwise, our opponent's pretty low, so we've got a choice between going for Teferi and activating this reef and going face. Okay. Let's get Rona back. Draw an island. So if we activate Reef, we'll have 3 mana left over. No, 4 mana, excuse me. Well, assuming, yeah, the reef lives, so we'll have 3 mana. All right, let's send Atraxa over there, and let's send the Reef to our opponent's face. So we don't have enough to finish them with this attack. We could get them to 2, but they've got 3 unknown cards in hand. Okay, we mill a Get Lost and a Depopulate, and some other lands. Okay, Atraxa connects with Teferi, and the Reef hits our opponent down to 9. Let's play a second backup Reef, and let's play Kaito. Kaito triggering Rona, although that's kind of useless. Let's do a little draw. Thanks to Kaito, who's going to phase himself out. Okay, so opponent's got to deal with our board. Otherwise, we're threatening to come over with what's looking like kind of lethal damage. Shamil, the Inner Sun, cast off of the Thousand Moon Smithy land. I like that angle. I still like that angle. I know you're playing Farewell, but that's a fun... That is a fun thing. There is a lot happening here. All right. Okay, so Rona triggers off a damage. Just double checking that. It might be an option to actually run Rona straight into this brick wall of constructs, as our opponent grabs a couple of things off of that free Farsight they've got. Yeah, still nothing to reanimate from our opponent. We get back Vohar. Okay. Let's play Island. Alright. Yeah, I don't... Yeah, let's just attack with Atraxa. Atraxa Ever Vigilant. There's a world in which we can pump up the Reef. Or actually both Reefs. But they don't have Menace, they just have Death Touch. So we could have tried to force the block, but the opponent could have had removal for it. So opponent's at 2. We've got blockers for the backswing. Let's try to get a Cruelty going. Alright, we're going to go on tutor mode. Alright, is there anything we have we can finish? Where is Shieldred? I thought we had 1 copy of Shieldred in here. Is she already gone? Oh, I was hoping for that. Alright, we're going to Breach instead. Okay, I don't... Alright, let's make another blocker then. Oh, I was hoping for a nice, clever finish with Shieldred. That's okay. We've got to make it through one more turn. Alright, this Smithy is offering to transform, but they've already got the land. Ooh, the Overflowing Well. Alright, so they make another construct with that. That's going to mill them for 2 more. Then they draw 2. Staring down 3 10/10 constructs. But as it stands, we've got a flyer. So they're going to have to leave up mana to activate one of their Restless Anchorages. Looks like they're using the maps to dig through the top. There's a Sunfall. Okay, if they can find a way to draw that, that can buy them some more time. There's Farsight. take a look at the top. They get to pull 2. They had a land in hand anyway. Here comes the Sunfall. Yeah, I guess not much I can do about that. Opponent activates an incubator token. Okay. And they get to go discovering. What do we discover? Treasure map. Alright, decides to play out the treasure map. And what do we have down here? We've got Urza. I don't think there's any way we can both steal Urza and a Mightstone. What do we have? Planeswalkers. Oh, that hurts getting our creatures exiled. Alright. Maybe there's something we can do here. Let's reenact. So Urza was put into the graveyard this turn. We could also Sunfall. Actually, Sunfall clears the way for our Reef. That's the way. That is the way. I'm not going to mess around with Urza. I mean, we're going to get Urza anyway. Good game. Wow. Really love the artifact bent to this Azorius control deck, but man, those Sunfalls are annoying. Alright, well, just in case there's something I'm missing, we're going to fire up both Reefs, send them in. Mill number 1, mill number 2. Alright, there it is. Good game.